Well. I bet you thought, since you hadn't seen us since October the 1st, we weren't going to come back. I bet that's what you thought, but here we are again. It's been almost a full day. By a full day, I mean a full month. And by an overlay, what I mean is I forgot to check that everyone's faces were in the right place. So I gotta do a little bit of shuffling here.
My face is right here on my head.
Yes.
Well, that
right
is
where it should be.
Technically true, in a way. Everyone was in exactly the wrong place, and it took me the maximum amount of time to do that. I saw one of you subscribed, and I immediately forgot who it was. I think maybe it was Glimo.
Yeah, it was me. 62 months.
Thanks for that. Nothing like completely fumbling an intro start. This is not Freddie Wong behavior, is all I need to say. All right, not Freddie Wong behavior. The last episode was dark, my friends. Thanks for that sub, James. Last episode was dark. We are now in a interregnum period, moving between two ages, the age of Uther and the age of anarchy. Uther was a bad man. He's a very bad man, but his reign had some measure of order, peace, and something that passes for justice. We are moving forward into a time that has none of these things. And Spoon
compare him to Vortigern. How is he compared to Vortigern?
I mean, Vortigern's an evil guy. Vortigern is literally an evil magician in many of the tellings. Uther is a bad man. He's a bad man who commits very serious crimes. Vortigern eats babies. So it's a big difference. Big difference. Yeah. You know, it's a logarithmic scale of badness to evil, and Vortigern is somewhat past that.
Yeah. So it's like normal two-party politics then.
No, not even remotely.
Evil and bad.
Yeah. Worse and eats babies.
I'm trying to tell you that it's not bad. You're really derailing me from my very serious warning of what's going to happen going forward. Spoon has intimated that he will live out his fantasy of finally playing a bad man, a very dark knight who takes property through force. He hasn't said that directly. He's just nodded and smiled when I've implied that that's what he's going to do. So just know, going forward, friends, that the show probably should not be watched with your children.
Yeah, I was going to say forward. That, like, as bad as it's going to be, Arthur's already implied it won't involve eating babies, because that's going to be bad. It's going to be bad, not going to be evil.
Yes.
I've reviewed King Arthur Pendragon, Great Pendragon campaign. I do not believe any babies are eaten at any point in the campaign.
Doesn't somebody's son get baked into a pie and fed to him or something at one point?
Jesus. That first off, that's Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't that Game of Thrones?
I don't recall that happening, James. And you know what? If that does happen, there'll be a fucking episode warning. And it'll have to be edited in as well. Yeah, it's going to be dark going forward. We are not yet at the end of 495. We have a couple more things to do. We've got some funerals. And then we've got a lot of talking. And then the players will decide the future of the entirety of the Age of Anarchy here live on camera, while we figure out just how political and how mobile they want to be. And we will learn firsthand from the what animal is it when they say from the horse's mouth? Listen, I cut this orange earlier today while I was fucking cooking, and it's totally messed me up. I know I've been stumbling over words and forgetting myself lately, but this fucking orange literally set me back like 20 minutes of cooking, and then something was on fire, and it's been a thing. Also, it's going to be a short episode because James was being really passive-aggressive. Don't believe it. Don't believe it.
My wife is being passive-aggressive.
No. Listen, I never ask my players to explain why they have to go or why they have to go somewhere. I just thought it would be funny if I said that James was passive-aggressive, because he's not.
I'm very passive-aggressive. One sec.
Well, that was really passive-aggressive.
He is Australian.
Previously, there was an infamous feast. A lot of people died. You spoke with Dukulfius, who suggested that you return to your lands as quickly as possible to get ahead of the news of this and perhaps organize some defense against whatever happens. you did so, riding at first capability and netting allies along the way. Your group have all arrived home ahead of the dead, of which there are many. Whatever honors have been heaped upon you by the Battle of St. Albans pale in comparison to the darkness that has fallen over the land of Logres, the island of Britain, and what will one day be called the United Kingdom. Does anyone attend the funerals, of which there are many? Of course, there are funerals for Roderick and Uther, who are both being buried at, let's see here. Uther is buried at Stonehenge, alongside his brother Ambrosius and his son Prince Madoc. And Earl Roderick is being buried at the cathedral in Salisbury.
Well, both of those are in Salisbury, so we don't have to go very far from home to attend both funerals.
It is merely a day or two's ride to reach either.
Yeah, Kendric would definitely attend both of them if possible.
Yeah. I think that certainly I'll attend both funerals, but I'm not taking any. I'll take my squire, but not my household knights. Like they're all. Anyone else that's part of my household is staying home to guard, just in case there is some sort of, Saxon opportunistic attack.
So interesting you mentioned that. I do need everyone to roll a d6 for each of their household knights, of which Kneed has many.
Oh no. Oh no.
I was just looking at the overlay, and while I may not have gotten the faces correctly, I did change it so that Glimo's character name is Kneed.
Was right. Nice.
And it looks like the overlay switched back to saying Owain instead of Gwgan. Incredible! I was so proud of having done that a few weeks ago. All right, hold on. I'll have to start working that while everybody starts rolling d6s.
Let me just make sure there's
Do you want them individually or just all together?
But however you want to do it. Anyone that gets a 6 is dead. They died to banditry or they died at St. Albans to various causes.
Also don't
wow, whoa, holy shit, you guys are just fucking weaving.
Don't forget that your total on your sheet would normally include yourself. So
there we go. Glimo classically having the worst luck out of everyone here.
I'm gonna kill off the two old men.
Okay.
Probably wise.
We're not gone. I'm just updating the overlay, and it takes a second for it to recognize that. Hold on, friends. All
so Emin was 56 and Eldir was 50, and they have now passed.
Your two uncles? Boy, that's really going to change up your family council dynamics.
Yeah, right.
That's literally 2 of the 5 members of your family's council. Holy shit. Well, the remaining have gotten more powerful as a result. And that will be a mechanic we'll be doing going forward. You may recall that Gwgan previously encountered sort of family council situation. I believe it was Gwgan.
Yes.
At the very least, it was definitely James who encountered it.
Yeah.
That will continue going forward, but for all knights, and will be quite important. You attend both of the funerals, having buried your own dead. Kneed, it's a dark time for your family. Lots of dead knights coming home. The order of your family is continuously being disrupted. Your presence as the new... I mean, you're not the heir, right? There
I
is.
was legitimized. I mean,
You are legitimized, but you are not
I'm the I guess steward. You know,
you are the steward.
Regent until Herawd's children come of age, assuming they do.
In the words of Brennan Lee Mulligan, as Donald Trump, as Sauron.
Yeah, Sauron.
Denethor, not the king, not the king of Gondor. We call him Little Tomato.
Not the real king, by the way. Not the real king of Gondor.
It's a video that what I thought of about Kitty. There, you know, in the words of Star Wars, there is another. There are several, actually. Darani, I believe, is the true heir of the land, the primogeniture, as it were.
So is Kinnaid part of the Order of the Axe?
He has loyalty Order of the Axe.
I believe that's what we decided last episode.
I'd like to, if possible, get all the Order of the Axe, and that includes like Gwent, for example, and anyone else that's joined together for a conversation after one of the funerals before we go back to our homes.
Well, Ibis is dead. So you can take him off
the living ones. I'm not going to dig up the bodies of, away.
Yeah, I think it's the three of you and Gwent. Who are left. Yeah. Yes, the four. As they call them, the four musketeerless knights. You, Sir Kendric, receive a personal letter from King Nantiliod. Indicating that a large Irish army has invaded the Gales, and that the King of Estragals and his knights and mercenary Irishmen are now invading his lands, and he regrets that, as you are his point of contact and ambassador from Uther, that he cannot attend the Battle of St. Albans or the feast.
How convenient.
I will send a return letter saying,
just to be clear, this is a very Britishly call for aid, by the way. Like, yes, we're in a slight bit of a pickle.
You else didn't turn up? Go lowers. Once again, failed to attend a major event.
He's dead. He's in the ground. They call him the late Sir Gorlows.
I will dictate a letter back to him.
Yes,
explaining the situation and basically telling him that there is no Logris to send you help now.
I see. How would you like to send that letter?
That's a great question.
This letter reached you carried by hand from a peasant farmer on his way down the King's Road.
Yeah. Was it like dated? I mean, obviously it's before the battle, but
yeah, like about 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say how. Okay, so it took him about a month to get here. I'll actually send one of my knights, and a couple of like armsmen.
Yes.
With him.
Which knight? Which knights will you dispatch?
Are you doing this in front of the rest of us?
This is arriving to his manor.
Yeah.
Okay.
If he wants to tell you about it, that's fine. But when he gets it and reads it, it is himself.
We will send Sir Molai and Sir Rees. So one of my uncles and one of my cousins.
Can you roll 2d6?
Sure. Four and a 1.
Okay. We'll hear back from them in the future.
Yeah.
The dangerous times. Would have been a really good ploy to free up your family council a bit more by getting rid of competition. They were dead. Okay, any other business? Yes, did you want to mention this to other knights? Now, just to be clear, all of this is happening very fast.
Yeah.
The burial of Roderick and Uther take place on the same day, 2 days after you arrive back. And while you were at the funeral, you were all told by Lady Ellen, his wife. Yes. I've there are so many names on my list for tonight's episode notes, and I have to make a difference between Ellen and Elaine. Lady Ellen, Countess Ellen, informs you that she has sent riders out to every quarter of Salisbury, and she expects all knights to be in attendance at the castle in 2 days. So you have 2 days of free time before you must attend a council of Salisbury's remaining warfighters.
I think I would probably tell everyone else when we all group up, when the Order of the Axe groups up, when Sir Gwgan brings us all together at one of the funerals, if we wanted to do that.
All right.
Okay. While you're at the funerals, of course, both of these men are buried with great dignity, although neither of their bodies are shown. There is quite a bit of gossip that is traveling around. Some key points are that Dame Titania has been invested in the manor at Weil by the Countess Ellen, which is there's a lot of debate. The women are livid that this home wrecker and person who has 3 men follow her around has been invested. Some of the older knights are shocked that Countess Ellen believes that she has the capability to invest someone. That indeed, unless the 3-year-old Sir Robert stood up and declared it to be so, Ellen may not have that power. She may not have any power at all. Others say nothing. And finally, perhaps the smallest group simply look out with hollow eyes at a funeral for a king, which should be attended by thousands, and instead is attended by dozens, many of whom are not knights and are simply respected armsmen, mercenary captains who served under him, people of influence. There are few knights left in this land. And it seems to them, whoever they can get invested in a manor would be done so immediately. That's just the first set of gossip. Number 2 is the rumors that peasantry are gathering and talking about creating a great republic, that they should take power back into their own hands to descend on Duplain and seize it for themselves as a new free city. Negotiate with the Saxons. There are rumors that the peasants are everywhere across the land are about to rise up in a great mass and turn on their true God-given masters.
You want to write some sort of Magna Carta?
Now, just to be clear, do you mean Magna Carta, the English document of governance? Do you mean Magna Carta, the rap song? Or do you mean Magna Carta, the truly awful video game?
All 3 at once.
Oh boy, that video game was so bad. You learn that Bishop Roger is alive because he is the one performing these services, but you learn that Roderick's confessor, Father Tui, was with him in the hall and is dead, and is actually being buried as well, to somewhat less circumspect fanfare than a king and an earl. The final point of gossip that you receive is that a bear has been spotted near Imber again. So the people of Imber have decided that they're not going to work until the bear is dealt with. It's going to be a rough winter for them, what with this bear. Therefore, I have set the stage at the dual funerals. You may choose whether you are at Stonehenge when you have your discussion, or whether you are at the Chapel of Salisbury.
I think the Salisbury Cathedral is going to be Stonehenge is a structure on a hill surrounded by just open land. Like,
my understanding, it's also kind of windy as well.
Yeah, private conversation. I think would be easy to have in the chapel, or in Salisbury anyway.
For sure.
Yeah. Thank you for taking the time. I know we've all got a lot on, but I think that there are things that we need to be doing, and we need to be doing them very soon, because I think that things may soon spiral out of control. I wanted to ask first of all of you, does anybody not agree that Robert is the rightful heir of Salisbury?
Gwent nods to indicate that he believes that Robert is the rightful heir of Salisbury.
He is the son of our Lord.
Yes. I think that when we gather in 2 days' time at Countess Ellen's invitation, that we need to call upon all the knights of Salisbury to once again swear fealty to Robert. I think that the line of succession is clear, but the line of governance is less so. I believe that as Roderick's wife and the mother of, he's not just the heir, he is now the Earl, that Ellen should command as regent of these forces. I think that there is a high chance that some people may try to say that Ellen is not suitable to rule and that others should rule in her stead. And I fear for the life of Robert if others are allowed to usurp that control. I see no problem with Ellen seeking guidance from among her knights, but I see dark times if she is pushed to the back. I think that we as a group need to advocate for all knights swearing fealty to, by extension, to Countess Ellen.
I agree.
It's close to home for me as one who was for so long not in a position to, and now I find myself in charge of the family. So I agree and will stand by you on this.
How old is your squire, my cousin?
Hayden?
Kendric? Yeah.
He will be turning 21 this year, I believe.
Yes. My own squire, Nerys, will be. It's my intent to invest her in one of my cousin's manors. I think that we need all the knights and strong knights we can get. So I hope that you'll have. If you don't have the funds to raise Hayden up, I'm happy to contribute them.
I should have no problem knighting and fiefing him. Or at the very least, he'll serve as a household knight for some time before I gift him a manor.
What's the status of your squire?
Very new to this. He's 15.
Okay.
Phoebe's squire died with him on the battlefield.
Well, maybe it's the grace of God he won't see the anarchy that is to come.
There's another matter. I've received a letter from King Nanteliod. He was unable to support Logris at the battle and thereby escaped the feast because his lands have been invaded by, was it the Gales?
The Irish.
He's invaded by the Irish, and the King of Estragales is supporting it.
Yeah. So he has troubles of his own.
Remember, famously, you guys really were turned away at the Gales. Yeah,
we kind of fucked that place up.
Honestly, not your fault. I think it should be really obvious right now. The reason that went poorly is because they've been planning to betray Logris all along. But I don't know that you guys fucked up, just to be clear. I'm a GM who loves saying when players have fucked up, so take this from me. I don't think you guys made any mistakes. Made any major mistakes. But please continue.
Dispatched my cousin, or my uncle Morlaix, and my cousin Sir Reese with a letter back to him, explaining the situation and
Kendric, given what's happening now, should you receive another letter like that, I wouldn't risk your own men on that. Either ignore it or send it on to Silchester and let Ulfius deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that the fact, like, it's invariably the other kings of Britain will learn of Uther's death. How they respond to it could be quite varied. Some may see this as a chance to pull Logris into their own realms. I think we need to avoid spreading information as much as possible, or at least run those sort of things through Ulfius, Brastius, maybe even the Queen. But I agree. Like, if you received a personal response, you needed to give it personally. If you received a personal communique, you needed to send a personal response. You've all heard tell of the bear in Ember. I almost think that we should consider going and dealing with this. Give the people a sense that things will not change despite how much things have changed.
I agree, and it would be good to hunt another bear in the hills of Ember. Reminds me of old times.
Do we have time to safely get there and back and conduct a hunt?
It'll take you 2 days just to get there.
Okay, so we can't get there and then back to. We'll have to do it after
the council. But yes,
yeah.
Would that we could come to council with some piece of good news and regular life, but I don't see it in the cards for our horses.
But afterwards,
assuming we don't have different orders,
of course. There are some other things that I would like to talk about regarding the order. I think in this time, the expansion of our ranks could prove to be very useful as a faction within Salisbury. I think Dame Titania might be a good candidate as a newly invested knight. And that also shows our support for Countess Ellen in that the Countess was the one who granted her the manor. Also our squires, Sir Gwgan, I believe, we had already decided that squires would gain candidacy, but I would also like to extend this to Dame Titania.
I think we can make the offer. It's hard to get a read on her, but I feel that almost that she has her own cadre. We can she may align herself with us. I don't know necessarily that she would join our order, but I agree. I think that especially if we plan to publicly support Ellen to try and keep her from harm's way, then the bigger power base we play, the better chance we'll have of maintaining that.
I agree.
I agree with you, Gwgan, that she's unlikely to join us. I mean, she turned down being invested in your manor to go her own way, so...
But we should still talk with her.
I see us being allied groups, but I don't think she would join with us.
Did she come from Roderick's funeral, Arthur?
No. She and none of her
little band
attendant knights attended either funeral.
I think we should head to Salisbury or to Sarum earlier. Well, we're in Sarum right now anyway, so I think that we should, if she arrives here before Ellen's summons, we should try and speak with her before Ellen's council.
It should be noted, by the way, that Will is... It's not the most western manor, but it is quite far west. And she rode with you to get here. So, you know, like, she's easily 2 days behind you. She may have, by the time the funeral is coming up, she may have just arrived in her new manor, essentially.
Yeah. And time to turn around and come back to answer Ellen's summons.
You're assuming she will answer Ellen's summons, but we'll see.
Let's see. Given the rumors that we have heard about the peasantry planning on taking the castle at Duplain, I'm thinking of suggesting to Countess Ellen to name me the Castellan of that place.
Should be noted.
Yes.
I wasn't going to go into this until much later tonight. Maybe not even tonight. People who have the sort of ranks like Baron or Castellan or Steward are knights that do not go on adventures. They are far too busy at home. It would greatly limit your ability to go on activity. It will surely grow your wealth and power and glory.
Okay.
But it may limit your ability to respond to events.
Fair enough.
You have to deal with bears. You have people that deal with bears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said at the beginning of the session, tonight we will be deciding how we're going to play the Anarchy era.
Yeah.
If you want to be a roaming Castellan, probably there will be consequences to the castle you Castellan.
Right. Okay.
Wow,
I guess the
what
other consideration is going to
sentence.
be we need to think about what the Saxon response is going to be. They'll obviously learn of the king's death and they'll be emboldened. So we have to assume that raiding and pillaging will increase substantially. And I don't know if was there a Saxon king at the battle at St. Albans? Was Octa there or something? Is that right?
Yes.
And did he live or die at the end?
I believe he lived, was captured, and now you have no idea. Let me double check on that one. It was King Octa, so I believe definitely 100% lived and is now free and has escaped.
I think from memory, even though it doesn't declare his state in that battle, if you do like a search for his name in the PDF, he never appears again after that battle.
Sure, but his Aethelings are active.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So,
which means if they're not the king, then he's still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, motherfuckers at home. I'm on my shit tonight. I prepared for tonight. I know ancillary information and trivia wide. Because there are going to be some fucking questions from these motherfuckers here, and I got to be able to answer them.
All right. Anything else we need to cover off here, or do we simply prepare for the for Ellen's count? Well, should we try talking to Ellen first and let her know that she has our support?
I think so.
So Gwent says, I do not wish to come off as too glib. There are some who may say that I push for this course of action because the kingdom of Escavalon has the county of Gwent within it. But I, Gwent, would say that we may want to consider that such a kingdom, while not directly upon our borders, what with Summerlin and Somerset in the way, if Escavalon is to fall to these Irish, we may be at threat. I, Gwent, would caution that we may want to go to Gwent. It is a large undertaking at this time. So much lies in the balance, but if the West falls to the Irish, there is no Gorlo to defend us anymore. Do any of us even know anyone from Cornwall? Can we be assured of their loyalty in defending the land?
I no longer do.
If Roderick was still alive and we wanted to go to Gwent to assist in Escalon, then we would need Roderick's leave. So by the same token, if we are still Knights of Salisbury, then we need the leave of Earl Robert. Or
I agree.
By extension, his. But we can certainly ask that question. But
I'm not contesting any of that. I simply caution that it may be better for us to be proactive.
Well, when I sent out of character, Escavalon is the same place that Nantelia is king of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Gwen is saying if they're in trouble, we should consider going to help them, because if they fall, we're next. Which, again, isn't technically true. There are 2 whole counties between you and there. But...
Yeah. When I sent Sir Molay and Sir Reese, I instructed them to deliver a letter, but also to perhaps explore options for, or to see if King Nanteliad would be amenable to mercenary work.
See.
We are going to need a lot of capital coming up, I believe.
I'll say this. Based on some of what I heard, the heirs of that particular kingdom do not get along well and are perhaps incompetent. I do not have the highest faith in their ability to withstand a concentrated Irish push. And that is all I will say on this matter. Because it does not sound like any of you are against me in this.
I worry more about a threat from the east than a threat from the west.
Surely you cannot say that Silchester is an enemy in these times. Duke Ulfius is a friend, is he not?
Ulfius is ambitious.
And there are the Saxons also to think of.
Yeah,
I was talking more about the Saxons.
That's what I thought. I thought you meant like threat from Sussex.
Ulfius is ambitious.
But he is an honorable man.
Like Brutus. Brutus is an honorable man.
That's not necessarily the story we tell in my family.
Gwent frowns and looks at you because he doesn't know this story, but he doesn't say anything further.
In any case, we need to decide. We need to see out this council first.
I will defer to the council, but my general thought would be, for the next couple of years, we need to look after Salisbury. I don't know that we're going to have the resources to go and aid foreign kings, or even the land next door.
But we should share the information you have with Countess Ellen.
Of course.
So I will send a page to the Countess to see whether or not we can meet with her before the gathering.
Well, each of you receives a messenger. Kinnead, you have received a message from your half-sister, Lady Harfen, who would like to meet with you at your earliest convenience, although it is underlined 3 times. Kendric? Let's see here. Nobody comes for you. My bad. Gwgan, you are sent a message calling you to attend Lady Elaine, not Ellen, who is your rightful lord, at your earliest convenience. It is not underlined at all.
Okay. And where is she? I think she's still staying in Shrewton. So.
In the manor house, yes, in Shrewton.
All right. So I'll send a response to say that we've been summoned to meet with Ellen in 2 days' time. We are in Sarum already. We will meet with Ellen, and I'll return after that to meet with her.
Very well.
How quickly can I make it from Sarum back home?
You would ride there and ride back. You could do it as long as you weren't asked to do a full day's activity while there.
Brothers, my sister-in-law has asked to meet with me.
I guess she's your half sister-in-law. Sure.
Yeah, she, as I'm sure some of you know, is very insightful in the ways of politics, and I feel it might be good to get her input before the council meeting. So if you could excuse me for the next day, please, meet with Elaine, give support in my name, but I feel like we might be better prepared if I talk with Harfin before the full council meeting.
Indeed.
Very well.
Is there anything that you would like us, if we do meet with Ellen before the council, is there anything that you'd like us to pass on your behalf, other than joining us in our support?
Laverstock is strong and stands ready to defend Salisbury.
Very well. Safe travels, Sir Khalid.
Thank you. And Khalid will ride quickly.
Do we want to follow the meeting with Lady Ellen or the meeting with Lady Harfin?
I think the meeting with Lady Harfin first.
Okay. It takes place the next day. You get off a lathered horse that is breathing heavily and go to meet with Harfin. In the yard, you see that Sir Santoro is training with Aiden and Grand, and Angwin appears to have taken a small tree and is carving a 7-foot club out of it. Harfin looks like a bitter widow, standing in her dress at a beautiful, recently put in stained glass window. Very simple depiction of her former husband, looking through it out to see her brothers, and she turns towards you with no smile on her lips and says, "Please sit down, Khalid. You are welcome here."
Sister-in-law, it is good to see you.
Lady.
I understand there was some urgency.
I understand that you are to act as something like a steward until the heir is old enough for now. And that many of this family have done well in combat and in gathering funds. I am here to ask you to spare 60 pounds.
Lady, you know the state of the coffers probably better than I do, but
yeah, but I don't.
Believe that would more than bankrupt our small manor 6 times over.
Then find the money you need. You have rich friends. I would also encourage you to do what it takes We need the money now, and you can pay the debt later. My brothers must be raised to knights. Soon. They must have arms, armor, and honor. And some measure of etiquette.
If that is what you were looking for, lady, may I suggest then that I could probably find them places in either Gwgan or Kendric's ranks. I bet that they would. We need every able-bodied knight that we can. We just spoke of this, and I am sure that they would invest your brothers. That would be an easier boon to come by than 60 pounds.
I will be flat with you, Khalid. This family needs Aiden and Grand to be free to act, not indebted to other houses in terms of fealty or honor. So I tell you, find the money.
They would become indebted if I had to find that much money.
We would have become indebted.
We would have to give up the entire honor of Laverstock. We have 10 pounds in the treasury and have never had more than that. You know this has always been an impoverished...
She slams her hands on the table and a wooden spoon makes a wooden spoon on wooden table noise, which is not quite like a stainless steel table. And she says, do you think I not know the state of the coffers? You have wealthy friends, you have strong arms, and you are free to act as you would. If the money must be raised by raiding our neighbors or taking from Duke Ulfius, whatever it takes. We need the arms, armor, and honor for my brothers. This house needs every able-bodied knight as soon as possible, and every free levyman. I know more than most, and you should realize too from the trail of dead young men that we can only rely on our house and ourselves. We must make secure these lands, and it may require us to secure them at great cost in blood. I will not ask you again whether you will raise the money. I will only ask if you follow the orders of the regent of this house. I represent the young lord.
Then perhaps I need to find my own house.
Oh boy, listen, this isn't even one of those she will remember this. This is like the sound of the window shattering, like a sword being drawn between you. She just says, get out of my house. Do not return here to Laverstock. You are not welcome on these lands anymore, and if you are seen again, it should be with a priest.
I believe you overstep, milady.
You are no knight. I strip you of your rank.
That is not within your power. I have been raised to be head of this household.
You are a bastard.
I am legitimized, and you are here at my sufferance. You wish me to mortgage the entire future, our good name, so that your barely able to hold a sword psychotic brothers can be free to do what they wish? No, I will not allow this.
I have told you the terms.
I have told you the terms. You and your brothers may go back to your father's lands and live there.
Wow, this heated up way more than I thought it would. Holy
Not
shit.
exactly how you thought this was going to go, huh?
Glimo putting his foot down. He may be inheriting Laverstock sooner than anticipated. Either that or we're going to be looking at another Glimo character change before the end of the session.
Hey, listen, just get a food taster, my friend. Get a food taster.
And Glimo's like,
and don't
I'm
visit
going to
any
raise Harfin to
battlements.
be a spy. 10 episodes later. You know what? I should beef with my former wife.
It's one of the best parts of Pendragon.
If she'd asked for something that was like within his power to do, that wouldn't have been a problem. But like,
as a side note, the biggest expense of raising a new knight is the charger, which is 20-ish pounds.
Sure.
Which is where most of that expense is coming from.
Still, you understand these people need the money.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and...
Well, look, here's the thing about this scene, though, is that she believes this is her house, and she's not in a big hurry to leave, and you have somewhere to be, so... I ask you whether you leave or whether you force her out. Knowing that her brothers are right outside the house.
I mean, from a literary sense, this ends two ways. Either you strangle her or she poisons you.
I think that I think he's a knight of vengeance, and that's what he's known for. And he feels he just got backed into a corner. He throws the door open and at the top of his lungs bellows, "Be it known from this day forward that this is the house of Kneed of Laverstock. Everyone who is not blood kin must leave immediately. Sir Santoro, I expect that you will return to the land of Lycus with your brothers and sisters."
Santoro. Obviously, 3 brothers and Santoro were all shocked out in the area. I mean, this is a big pronouncement completely out of nowhere. Santoro sheathes his training sword and begins walking over to speak to you, while Gron the Black Hammerer begins leaning up against a fence post next to a massive black iron hammer. And Angwin just continues using sandpaper to shave down his club. They probably don't have sandpaper. He's using a rudimentary lathe to...
What are the things that you...
Yeah. Santoro comes over to talk to you while Harthen is ordering the servants to have your things removed from the house. And Santoro says... "What's happening here, Kneed?"
Your sister has asked me to completely bankrupt the treasury of Laverstock. She somehow thinks that I can just magically get a massive amount of money and that won't put us under the thumb of somebody. She says she needs it to knight your younger siblings. I offered to find places in my friends' households for them. She refused. She told me that I was no longer welcome here. And being that I have been put in charge by the Duke as Regent of Laverstock, there can only be one master of the house. She thinks she's it. By rights, I am. She will not hear reason on this matter, so the only thing I can do is answer this way. Maybe once she's back at her father's house, she'll cool down and realize the folly of her ways, or be willing to work around it, but I can't go off and bankrupt this house. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure in the current climate, there's not a money lender that has 50 pounds right now.
Blood has not been spilled yet. But the words that have been spilled cannot be taken back at this point. I will say this. I think that your plan of having my brothers serve Kendric and Gwgan is a solid one. And I understand where you were coming from. But by my honor, I recognized my sister as the lady of this house.
It was the lady of this house as long as my brother was alive. On his death, before his death, my brother had made me legitimate and petitioned Roderick that if anything ever happened to him, that I was to lead in Laverstock.
Am I not also your brother? You turned me out of your house?
You're not my blood.
Okay.
You've been a good man and an honorable man to me, but you're not my blood. And if Arfin seems to think that she still rules here, then everyone who's not of the blood of Laverstock needs to leave.
I would like you to make an orate roll. This one's for all the motherfucking beans right here.
Oh, Jesus.
There's
Okay.
so many beans, and they're all on the table.
I don't know what your orate skill is, but you may want to consider impassioning for this
I
one.
was just trying to think. Can
I'll go with this scene first.
Can I impassion with love of family?
Boy, I have to tell you, at the end of the scene, your love of family is going to drop to a 15, so I guess use it while you can.
I mean, in Kinnead's mind, he's doing this for the love of his family.
I agree with you.
What Harfin has asked him would destroy the family.
I'm asking you to leave so I don't have to kill you.
Yeah.
Yes.
A critical success.
Shit. Nice.
On a 16. Not bad, not bad. Is that a
So
plus
that gives
10?
me a plus 10.
Plus 10 on the
Yeah.
right roll. Yep.
Oh, thank God.
Well, now you can't fail, so that's a great start.
Yep.
Okay.
18 out of 20.
What a success, too.
You can see on his face that this was the difference between him walking away and him brutally murdering you and burying you somewhere no one could find you. Some tension leaves his face and says, I respect you, Kinnead, And I understand where you're coming from, even if I don't agree with you. You're your own man. And there will be bad blood between our house for all time. What you are doing here is a mistake, but I will take my brothers and my sister, and we will leave this place with all of our things, which will be almost everything. And we will be gone by next week. Will you at least allow us that time to pack up our things before we go from our own house?
Yes.
Then we may see each other again and not draw swords. He holds out a hand for you to shake.
Khalid will take his hand.
Will do what I can, that my brothers do not find reason to have you murdered in the night. For they are not yet knights, and are not bound by the same code of honor and men that we are.
I appreciate that. And as I said, should you need to find them households, I will ask my friends if they would take them on.
Before you had words shouting out of the manor, I would have said yes, but I fear there was no longer any trust between the two sides to what was once a family. I like to think I'm a reasonable man. My brothers are men. I will see you tomorrow, Castle, representing the Manor of Chalk.
Very well.
I will see to it that my sister cedes to you your own bedroom, so you will have some place to stay tonight.
If it's better, I can stay in town.
No. You have bought this manor at a price. At such a price.
Very well.
No, it is my brothers and I who shall stay in town, although I fear the Anglin will not long remain separated from my sister. I have no doubt he will sleep at the hearth tonight here. Goodbye, Sir Khalid. He turns and starts to walk away.
Well, that didn't go on.
That was wild, dude.
Yeah.
But hey, it was dramatic. Holy shit.
I was looking up your line of succession partway through to try and work out like what the claims were, etc. You know, so
He probably ended up playing Santoro. Imagine playing the person who kills you.
Because Herawd had 2 kids, or 3
Four
kids.
kids.
4 kids.
Two boys, 2 girls.
2 boys, 2 girls. Yeah. So.
Well, the kids are definitely going with mom. So.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, did Khalid just like disinherit his brother's children?
Yes.
well, I think the issue is that I was looking at line of succession. I was realizing that if he was legitimized, that jumps him up the order of the by male preference primogeniture. He would become the heir with legitimacy. So,
or at the very least,
I mean,
he's got enough of a claim.
The trueborn child would be the heir, but Khalid has a claim for sure.
Yeah, and the thing.
Actually, sorry, no, you're right. So yeah, it would still be Drawny would still be the legitimate heir. Sorry, yeah, that's right.
But this is how these things work throughout all time periods, and especially in the time period we're coming to. If their uncle is in charge and removes them, there's not much they can do when they're 8 years old.
Yeah. They get one of the little tags that says has claim to the manor
exile.
of Laverstock, but needs to be pressed in
somewhere.
war.
Netflix is the Last Kingdom theme starts playing. Hey, listen, we're gonna go on a break and we fucking need it. We'll be back for the second half of this program in like, I don't know, 5 minutes.
Sounds good.
Hey guys, I just wanted to passively aggressively declare that this is the second half. And because it's the second half, there won't be a third, because that's not how halves work.
No, that's so passive aggression would say things like, "Oh, you're watching the second half." Well, I guess somebody has to.
That hurts me, James. That hurts me a lot. I think this is one of the few shows that I have that's still running that started before I edited all of the parts of the episode together. I think it's this and Endosteel are the only ones that are holdout legacies.
Look, if we finish this whole campaign at the rate we're currently going, it'll take us another 5 to 6 years. So,
but
Spoon's daughter could join us in the game, you know.
Yeah, for real.
Like that Loot Crate Dungeons and Dragons commercial. Yeah. I heard that if we complete it, though, we can use a Ouija board to summon Greg Stafford to give us our A New Hope campaign medal scene. Except I'll be Chewbacca, so I don't get anything. The Game Master just organizes his brilliant work. The players are the ones that play it out. So can you please lower your love of family from 16 to 15? And also raise your...
He got a crit, so it goes up automatically as well before it goes down.
Great. It's great. It stays at 16. Put a check mark in cruel and raise your cruel by 1 as well. And you know what? I'll let you choose whether you want to put a check mark in proud and reckless as well.
I will check both of those.
Great, because your actions were absolutely fucking wild.
definitely fit those two traits for sure.
So let's get back to that meeting with Ellen, huh?
Yeah.
Ellen does not have time to meet with you in private. It must be in the main hall. The fire is roaring here. Winter has not quite set in, but people are running in and out of the cold consistently. The whole hall is overly warm as a result in order to help the servants stay warm and help the knights and men-at-arms stay warm. One thing that immediately gives you pause is that several armsmen and knights are not only wearing armor but swords in the hall, which is a truly unconscionable and dishonorable act if they were not given leave and permission to do so.
Sure.
Presume they have been.
So like looking at them,
you don't recognize the armsmen except to say that maybe you saw them on your way to Imber before. Mm-hmm. The knight wearing the sword is Sir Arnault, who you do recognize. He is the most junior member of Earl Roderick's 12 Journey Knights. So when he goes on his progress every year, he takes 12 knights with him who directly attend him, and Sir Arnault is the most junior and youngest of them, which is to still say he's like 30, but
right. And he would have been basically like one of Roderick's household knights that he attended him directly.
He appears to be the only member of Roderick's household knights that is here.
Okay.
So I guess we approach and bow.
Ella gestures for you to sit. Please.
Thank you for seeing us. I understand you're busy. We don't want to take too much of your time. We simply wanted to assure you that the Order of the Axe is loyal to your son and to you as his mother, as the ruler of Salisbury.
You can tell that gives her some life and color as she says, "That is good to hear that the rule of law and the code of chivalry still means something, Sir Gwgan. Can you swear to that tomorrow in front of this hall?"
Definitely, and I will call for all other knights of Salisbury to do so as honourable men. I had already intended to do so, but I wanted to let you know you have our support first.
That is a chivalric act.
I think Sir Kendric pointedly looks at Sir Arnault and his sword and asks, what if there are those who will not swear to you, my lady?
We are all Bretons here. I assume that Bretonic knights are just and honorable men and women. I should hope that it would not come to that. But the law is quite clear.
Very well.
So you've glanced at Arnault, and Arnault, what's going to happen is he's going to put a foot on one of the dinner chairs, and he's going to put his hand on the hilt of his sword and then push it out like this, so that it's really like he's displaying the length of his sword and the hilt to you, to be like, oh, you're looking at me because I have a sword? Well, here you go, motherfucker. Here's the full thing.
Is there any reaction from the Countess for this?
I feel like that would take a roll. I just don't know that insight checking is a thing in this game. I'll take suggestions. Awareness, sure. Yeah, of course. Insight check.
It's a failure.
She is a very capable ruler who has spent her entire life in between the games of knights. Her face is impassive as she simply considers what's happening here.
Fair enough.
Hard to read. I would hope to speak with two of you more privately later, but you rode here through Silchester, and you must have had some encounters with Duke Ulfius. There are some who say that you spoke with him before you rode here.
I was the one who informed him of the king's death.
Would you say that he and Silchester can be trusted in these times? Can we at least hope that the eastern border is stabilized? I am worried about these reports coming out of Duplain.
As am I. I believe that Ulfius will be too busy with the Saxons to make any sort of overtures towards Silchester, or Salisbury. However, I believe it would be good to have a strong eastern defense.
Yours is the easternmost manor, is it not?
I am quite far east, yes.
I recall I saw some paperwork from my husband that indicated you had requested several times to raise walls around your manor. Is that...
That is correct, my lady.
What is the progress of such a project?
The walls have been raised. I was planning on building a tower this winter.
I would say that that is a wise undertaking, Sir Kendric.
My lady, I think while there are some who will attempt to press claims through force of arms, that Ulfius is a smart enough man to realize that internal conflict at this time is going to weaken our position against our actual enemies. And Silchester faces a greater threat from the Saxons, only by a small margin than we do, but it is greater still.
I am equally concerned as to what the Knights of Salisbury might do to Silchester. As you say, they are in a weakened state. And it is known that the Order of the Axe has had some dealings with Silchesterian knights. Yourself, Sir Kendric.
Yes. The steward of Levcomagus and I had...
the House of Laverstock has also had no small quarrel with them.
I do not believe we have anything to worry about from such feuds.
Peter Laverstock also asked us to pass on the support of Laverstock for you. I mean, he's part of the Order of the Axe, but he specifically called out the request that his loyalty be assured to you.
And you would say that he is a good and honorable man.
Yes.
Yes.
I will speak plainly, Countess.
And just remember, whatever you're about to say is in front of dozens of people.
Yeah.
Okay.
While I personally would not count Dugolfius amongst my friends, I also do not count him amongst my enemies.
Very well. For so long, I have myself been a source of tension with Silchester and Lev Kamegas. So it is difficult to let go of such things in the past, but all who were involved in such things are now dead and buried.
Is Orpheus currently married? Out of character?
I don't know that the book ever says that, but I believe he has heirs, so I would assume he does.
I would assume so. He's got sons.
It never says Duke Ulfius and his wife, but he definitely has heirs.
Yeah. I'm not going to suggest it here, but politically, the right thing would be to try and marry Ellen to Ulfius or one of his heirs to secure but may have them swear that Robert
the new
will remain
super county of Salchester.
Silbury.
Oh, I hate Silbury. I like Salchester though.
I also like Salchester better.
Silbury sounds like the name of a hobbit.
Yeah.
Well, we are at your disposal until you call for us again. We'll obviously join. And
the meeting will be tomorrow at noon. I can only hope that all knights will stand with tradition and law and order and attend clothed in righteousness.
We traveled with and loved your husband. If there's anything that we can ever do to help you in what you need to do, you need to only ask. I don't say this as a vassal to a lady. I say this as a person to the wife of one of my greatest friends. And
I will say this then. I am having trouble tasking someone to solve a problem. I require sturdy men, or perhaps strong boys, squires, to travel to Imber. There's some sort of problem with a bear. Can you loan your squires to service to this county?
If that's what you wish, of course. We were going to ask tomorrow whether we could deal with the bear issue. As you know, we have a history with bears in Ember.
I doubt that full knights need to be tasked, or full-grown men to chase the bear with the aid of Ember, but it might be a good learning experience for a new band of squires to start their own legend.
Two of our squires are about to reach the age of knighthood. We saw a bear on our first year as knights, so
I remember. We still have the pelt, the head at least. She points. It's definitely not over the hearth. There's a lot of really fancy stuff, but somewhere near the back of the hall, there's Kendric's bear head.
No.
It looks like you need a matched pair, my lady.
I think she laughs, and several people in here turn like, wow, she's laughing. That's crazy. What's happening? Several other people nearby chuckle, and even Sir Arnold stops peacocking long enough to say it. Nice.
I'll get up and bow. Assuming that it's been implicitly, that we're leaving. Yeah, so.
Kinnead, barely a few minutes before the meeting, you have time to meet with Gwgan and Kendric.
So before I left, I would have, if Krieg was still in Laverstock, I would have met with my uncle.
Yeah, your Uncle Krieg.
My Uncle Krieg, and informed him about what had happened.
Oh, don't worry. Everybody knows. Krieg and Braith are basically camping out in your house overnight.
Okay.
To be clear, the servants are basically leaving the house in its entirety. They're going with Santoro. Your lands... The people who work the lands will remain, but the people who work the house are leaving, and you will have an empty, servantless house.
Awesome. All your lands that belong to you.
Keurig just kind of looks at what he considers to be a bunch of traitorous brigands stealing his stuff. Because if you were to die, it would pass to him. And he goes, "You're not going to do anything about this, Khaneed?" I say we start by cutting their hands off, like one would do to any common thief.
Only furnishings. I fear that there'll be much deeper losses in the days to come. If it means so much to her, let her have it.
He puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "You've done well bringing a manor into the house, finally. You've done great work."
I appreciate it.
You're certainly my favorite nephew.
Can I ask you to make sure that they don't put the torch to the place while I'm meeting with the Duchess?
It's Countess. They're dogs
Countess.
and curs, but surely they wouldn't go so far. You would have me remain here rather than go there, though. She did call for all knights.
I feel that someone needs to stay. If you'd prefer that it be
No.
Mifi or Brave.
If you trust me with this particular task, I will do so. But make it be known to the Countess that I am a loyal knight of this land, and I follow the young boy. What's his name? Riddick?
I will do so. Thank you so much.
No, he says with a very genuine but also malicious smile. Thank you for settling the accounts of this house back into our family. You've elevated us farther than you know.
Only right. It's what Guy would have wanted.
At that, he frowns instead of smiling, remembering his older brother. Yes.
And then he'll ride off. And
but while you're riding, it's just I need a hero playing. A montage of you riding across your own lands for the first time as the small folk come out to see you. The rumor that you are the new lord has spread, and people watch you as you pass, some with trepidation, others with amazement, still others with open hatred on their face. But you do have a bitchin' soundtrack as you pull into the, open area filled now with horses and men and women getting off of them. As again, you meet with Gwgan, Kendric, and Gwent, who are swireless.
I got to say, because you mentioned it, that there's been a bunch of memes going recently or videos where, you know how you can use things like 11 Labs to duplicate people's voices?
Yes, James, I do know.
They've taken all of the, unit reactions for the Space Marines from Dawn of War, pumped them in to, train it. And so you have these sort of Vox type yelled Space Marine voices you can then generate, and they then go and generate lyrics for songs and use auto-tune to put them to songs. And so a video I got sent this morning was it was called When You Sing Your Own Theme Song. It was Space Marines fighting while one of the Space Marines sings I Need a Hero. So I'll make sure I send it to you.
Nice.
I have to be honest, I believe the Ultramarines theme song would be the Be a Man song from Mulan, but
Probably.
I think canonically it's oh god, what is that song from Moldova Eurovision called? The saxophone song?
Lonely Whisper? Oh.
I think it's called Get Away or something, but
Yeah.
You can just search Eurovision Moldova saxophone and it will get you to where you're going. Or you can just look up ultramarine saxophone, and it'll also get you to where you're going.
Okay. I know what video you're referring to now.
But in my mind, I want to believe it's the Be a Man song.
Sure. AI's done a lot of good things for us, and definitely one of those best things is Space Marine shouting songs at you.
Sure, of course. And it's also done a couple of really bad things, like cause voice actors to have to listen to racial slurs in their own voice thrown at them. It's a mixed bag, James. It's a mixed bag. Yeah. We're in a dark time, both in game and out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I say for the third time, you are all gathered in the Sally outside of the castle, all with the horses.
Did everything go well with your sister?
No.
What happened?
I just broke Arthur.
What did she have to say?
My sister-in-law still believed that she ran House Laverstock and tried to put me beneath her boot. I had to remind her that there is but one ruler in Laverstock. She and her family are moving out of the manor now.
Well, sounds like you're reaching a chord then. She lives, so do you.
I'm sure that there will be fallout for my family, but I will probably never be welcome at Jock, but it is what it is. It was not the meeting that I expected I was riding home for, but probably best to have accounts settled before the meeting we're about to have.
On that matter, once we're done here, I do need to return to Shrewton and speak with my sister. But so Kendric, you didn't mention your communique to Ellen in our meeting. I assume that you're waiting for a private moment for that.
Yes, I didn't think that announcing such things in front of the whole Great Hall was proper.
Do we feel certain that Ellen is not under duress, surrounded by so many men-at-arms, that they haven't already attempted to press a claim and she is threatened?
That's a good question, Sir Gwgan. I don't know Sir Arnault very well, though he was one of Earl Roderick's trusted household knights. I don't know. I can't imagine that he would turn on the son of his lord or his wife. But perhaps he is attempting, or that there is a faction attempting to further their own goals by putting pressure on the Countess, perhaps.
I would suggest this. If he obviously heard our exchange and he heard about the rumors of Ember as well. Mm-hmm. And we spoke about the fact that we would have gone and done that ourselves before she suggested that instead a squire goes. I think that if he perceived us as a threat, he would then encourage her
to send
us away
yes.
instead. So if that happens, that might be a clue but we'll have to see. She is a smart and cunning woman, though. She has negotiated the difficulty between Silchester and Sarum, and Salisbury during most of her life. So I trust that
I have much love for our late lord, but I feel as though Lady Ellen was a lot of the maneuvering behind the scenes, whereas Earl Roderick was the mailed fist that ruled the county.
The only good thing is that Levcamagus stands empty still.
Indeed, it does.
That should blunt any immediate ambitions that Silchester might have.
Though I imagine Ophius will fill that vacancy soon enough, within the year probably.
Quite, but given the bad blood between
Our two
those
counties, yes.
yes.
We did pass along your words to the Countess.
I appreciate that.
All these motherfuckers reading chat. You know, if I wanted you to react to it, I would have just said it out loud. Keep role playing. Stop reading chat. God damn it.
I'd like to ask each of you, what are your thoughts on raids?
On conducting them, you mean?
Yes.
Of?
Yeah, Gwent is just like, do you mean sheep and cattle? Or do you mean to take others' lands? Or perhaps even seize castle?
I think if I were to conduct a raid on a neighboring land, my first target would be horses. But I'm not suggesting we raid other Bretons, but I am suggesting that we raid. Perhaps to the south or
to
east.
Sussex or Kent or
Yes.
Even to Southport, where the Saxons camp. I mean, it's dangerous. We're not talking about taking an army. We're talking about
taking a handful of knights.
I mean, for such thing, we would need the leave of Lady anyway.
Of course. I just wanted to get your opinions first.
I think it's worth the conversation.
Sir Khalid?
We stand ready with whatever the axe decides.
The Gwent?
He was nodding while you were doing this. I also nodded, but
I did see the nod, but I wasn't sure if that was AP nod or a Gwent nod.
No, it was a Gwent nod.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, I'll do the real Gwent nod now.
We just need it to differentiate.
Very good.
I nodded, but I didn't do it Gwentishly. I apologize.
All right. I think we're ready for this.
The first part of the meeting is an accounting of which knights remain and what they control. At the top of the list is Dame Titania of the Manor of Weil. And attached to her are 3 knights, Lanier, Drawl the Half-Step, and Naroon the Brutal. Naroon has arrived armed with a sword. Sir Gwent has recently inherited Stapleford Manor as the result of a death at the Battle of St. Albans. There's also Sir Barr of the Manor of Burcombe and Sir Leo of the Manor of Newton. Sir Arnault is a knight of the Progress. Sir Wheel is the most glorious knight here, the most senior as well. He is the banneret of West Lavington and has Sir Conwy of Market Lavington, Sir Manu of Little Cheverel, Sir Paul of Cheverel Magna, Sir Sion of Great Cheverel, and Sir Tringed of Marston, who have arrived with him. They are not armed, but they have, rather than arrange themselves by the conventions of glory and seniority, chosen to group themselves together in a sort of C. There is Sir Isguan, Sir Wayland, Dame Modron, Sir Santoro of Chalk is present, Eladir, but not Kireg, and I believe Ernin is dead? No, wait, are Eladir and Ernin are both dead now, right?
Eldir, yes.
Yep. Okay, I can remove them from the list. James Braith, Myphi, Theon are all present. And I believe that accounts for almost all of the knights of Salisbury. Reporting in from afar with they can't be here because they are away, are Sir Keurig, Mulai, and Rise. Once more than 150 knights are reduced to something like 25. And the most honorable and highest ranking of them, a banneret. There is no chamberlain. There are no castellans. There is no steward. Following castles have no leadership. Devise, Ebel, Vagon, or Wilton. The castle recently assembled by Sir Amig in order to guard the swamps against giants and witches is also empty with his death and the death of his heir. The following border town is empty. Duplain is a complete chaos. The local mayor is attempting to seize power. How involved we want to get to this will be a discussion that we will have once all of the facts are on the table. Tillshead has no leadership. The markets at Warminster continue to trade, but taxes are no longer collected in the name of the Earl. The following manors directly lay empty. Tillshead, Winterbourne Stoke, Berwick St. James, Steeple Langford, Woodford, Dinton, the defense of the Abbey at Amesbury, Shoulderton, Newton Tony, Idmiston, Wintersbourne Gannett, Figsbury, Fault, Broughton, and there is no one left to command the camps at Up Avon and to defend the two Avon rivers. Many of the earls levied troops, deserted after the infamous feast, leaving with their equipment. I have heard that some have tiredly returned home to farm. Others have become bandits or mercenaries at the expense of this county, and others still may seize lands to become lords themselves. 200 professional infantry, men-at-arms, and otherwise have returned in order to help garrison the towns. We have barely enough men to control the castles and towns that we have, excepting the contingent of knights. That is the state of the county. I would ask that all of you offer your oaths of loyalty and fealty to the young Earl Robert here and now, in front of all of us here.
I stand up.
Okay. As you stand up, Sir Wheel stands up and says, "Oh, I'm sure you would like that. I think that you overstep your place as a woman. I look out at a gathering of men and male knights, and I would say that it would be most honorable if a knight were to receive such oaths of loyalty and act as steward."
May I approach the high seat, my lady?
Will turns towards you and says, "You have something to say, Sir Gwgan. Say it now."
I wish to step forward and address all of my peers.
Okay. The Countess nods.
No. So I stand up and I bow in front of Robert, or kneel in front of Robert.
Yeah, Robert's 3 years old, so he can speak some words and is capable of both standing and jumping.
Most of those words are no, by the way. I Sir Gwgan of Shrewton swear loyalty once more to my rightful liege, Robert of Salisbury, and to his mother, the rightful ruler of Salisbury, Countess Ellen. And I stand up and turn to everybody else. I would call upon any knight of honour and before the eyes of God to make such an offer to the rightful heir, irrespective of gender or knowledge. She may choose to form whatever council she wishes, but she is the regent of our rightful heir.
So Sir Leo stands up, shoulder checks wheel on the way up, and stands beside you and makes the same oaths.
Kendric is also walking up there and declaring that declaring his loyalty to Earl Robert and the Lady Ellen, and that the Order of the Axe stands with the rightful rulers of Salisbury.
Okay, when you say that, Gwent goes up there because he doesn't want to be the last one.
So after Gwent, Kneed will come up, but specifically bring with him his cousins Braith, Mifi, and Fifon.
As you are heading up there, Santoro says, "My lady, there are some here who do not belong in this hall. Sir Kneed has been stripped of his rank and is not worthy to stand among us nor to swear fealty to you."
By whom?
By the Lady of Laverstock.
She has no such power.
I say that she does.
Do you? You obviously don't understand the law, then.
I would say it is you that does not understand the law. It is she who is mother to the true-born heir. Is that not who you are swearing loyalty to right now?
The lady of a house does not have the power to strip knighthood from a man.
If you want to hear the Countess's opinion on this, perhaps you should come up here and swear fealty to her first.
He smiles when you say that, but it's not a happy smile, and is looking at Ellen. Ellen looks at you, Kneed. What does she see?
Kneed kneels, swears the oath, and says, "I have many strong women in my family. My cousins here, dames and knights all. We have no problem serving a woman. However, your husband made me the ruler of Laverstock upon my brother's death. Therefore, I am the head of Laverstock, and my brother's widow was not elevated to the position. She was not made regent, so she has no standing in my house. And I have asked her to return to Chalk."
Okay, so a couple of things happen in very short order. There's a fuck ton of gas and a lot of gossip happening. As privately as one can be when you're facing the wrong direction and you're all standing in front of everyone. Mm-hmm. From behind you, you can kind of get the impression, Gwgan and Kendric and Gwent, who is me, that Ellen wants to know how you feel about Kneed, because it's very clear that if she backs him right now and accepts what he's just done, things are going to go a very different way than if she backs Santoro. And she's looking at the three of you as if asking, is this worth it?
So were any of us else, is anyone else here involved in the scene where El Roderick legitimized Kneed?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
All right. I was going to say, if your husband and our Earl legitimize this, then the line of succession is clear.
I accept the oath of Sir Kneed, and I welcome the rest of his family and their oaths as well. And at this, Santoro turns and leaves, having not given any oaths at all. With the entire Order of the Axe representing themselves near the high seat, and with numerous other knights, including Sir Leo, standing there, you can see Sir Arnold is quietly unbuckling his sword and handing it to a page to be brought outside to his horse. And other knights who came in here armed are doing so as well before approaching. And last, Sir Wheel and his knights approach, and he says, "My lady, I ask you to apologize my behavior. I spoke in error and deep passion. I was wrong, and would hope that you accept the oaths of chivalry and honor of this banneret. I will serve the boy and you as I served your husband." Then he goes down on one knee, and so does Conwy, Men, Paul, Sion, and Tringad.
I think we just the crowd starts to like widen out to let more people come up until everyone who wants to.
Quill is the last. He's the last holdout. He and his 5 knights were last. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Because he's so glorious, he could have gone up much earlier. He was holding out to last to make a
point. Yeah.
Well, I don't know that making a point, right? He's wrong. Yes, it's dramatic. Sure, he was in the wrong and he knows it, and now he's being fucked in front of everybody. Now he's gonna make a show out of it.
Yeah,
well, to try to bleed off some of the tension. Yeah.
If there's two things in a list that people remember, it's the first and the last. So.
So the first order of business to speak about is nominations for Chamberlain, Castellan, Steward, Advocate, and if there are any worthy squires who should be raised to any manors, what the disposition of the manor should be, the foreign policy of this county, as it is the duty of knights to offer their counsel to their lord, and Countess Ellen is now asking knights for their counsel. And the final thing is what to do about all of these empty castles and towns.
So,
just to be clear, there's no chance we're going to get through all of that tonight, especially because we don't have our third hour. We'll give it a couple minutes to stew, but you may want to spend a few weeks thinking about this, because I believe we aren't coming back next week. I may be on vacation. Yes, my first day of vacation is next week.
Then we're, yeah.
I mean, do we need Arthur to play? Or?
You can just 11 laps my voice at ChatGPT. You just say, here's the narrative transcripts of the last 20 episodes. Imitate Arthur Perkins and tell me what happens next.
I mean, I think that because I mean, we know how many knights we had, but like, because not a lot of armsmen lost their lives at they weren't in the.
But some armsmen abandoned. Yes, they. So over 60 armsmen have abandoned their position and taken with them their equipment, and it is not clear where they have gone.
So I guess the question is,
a huge part of what Ellen has been doing is figuring out what the fuck is happening in Duplain and where all these, where the levies have gone and where the armsmen have gone, because they were all supposed to come here and they didn't.
Yeah, because someone with a good battle skill, which is not me, could probably try and work out which of the empty forts and manors should be garrisoned at least. It's going to take time to raise knights into them. Knights obviously have to age to a certain level, but to at least garrison some of them so that if there are attacks, there are men at arms in some of the places.
Oh yeah, probably the other thing that's not on my list because I didn't write it down because it hadn't happened yet is what to do about Chalk, because it's clear that Chalk, if not an open rebellion, at the very least has delayed their swearing in.
Yeah.
Someone in 300 years is going to write a treaty called The Question of Chalk.
I literally just put in my notes the question of Chalk.
The other thing is, so I'll be asking for permission to extend one of my domain manors to my squire once she is knighted this year, in the coming year.
I don't think you need to ask Ellen for that position.
But I would, out of respect and honor, I will.
Of course, so, very well. Yeah. Then you know how traditions get started in dramatic moments like this, where someone does something and then everyone starts doing it forever and ever, and someone looks back and say, "Hey, when did this tradition start?" I feel like Gwgan has just now started the tradition of asking your lord if you can loan out a domain manor to a worthy squire.
I would like to ask Arthur, from a rules perspective, whether you would consider allowing me to replace my low Amor Igraine, which is only 4, with Amor Ellen. Because Amor isn't necessarily love. It's more about like wanting to serve, etc., isn't it?
Come on, I'm a fucking simp here. I know what Amor is. I feel it every day.
Yeah, I just think that in this episode,
I also know what Amor is because it scratches me occasionally.
Yeah. I feel like Wayne has been simping for Ellen in this episode. That's all.
For sure.
I will allow you to do a 3d6 roll, and we'll see how that stands. How about that?
All right, nice. If I roll better than my Amor for Igraine, maybe.
I mean, you certainly could.
Nice. There you go.
Slightly higher than average. Is that better than your Amor for Igraine?
Yeah, which is 4.
Well, you feel very honorable when you serve your lady.
Okay.
On top of these large questions which are being discussed, there are several other questions that are passing around in gossip. They are the following. Is Duke Ulfius a trustworthy ally? Does anyone here have any friends in Cornwall we can rely upon? And what should we do about Shoot Forest, Collingwood Wood, and a number of manors, the following of which are Upper Shoot, Clayton, Bedford, Wilton, Grafton, Tidecombe, Oxenwood, Foxbury, Vernham, Dean, Fangley, and Levcomegus, and also manors directly east of Kendric's lands, Herawd, Greatley, and Monkston, which all are in the wood. They're on the Silchester side of the wood. There are a number of knights who are thinking that the border may need to be moved, that there are many great lands which could be empty and could stand good Salisbury knights in them. Does not the lady have a distant claim to Levcomegus? I feel, Kendric, that those discussions take place near you in the way that people know of your disposition, and you've kind of made it clear what kind of knight you are, and rather than directly ask you, they're simply having conversations near you in an attempt to draw a more senior. I mean, you're what, like 30 now?
Yeah, I'll be 32.
You're a pretty senior active knight with a fairly high glory.
Yeah, and was famously loyal to Earl Roderick and saved his life on several occasions.
I think probably the biggest agitator you hear right now is Sir Barr, who's kind of sizing you up and trying to see what's going on. You know, he's like, what are we going to do about Levcomegus? If only there was someone who knew what to do about Levcomegus. He says, standing directly behind you.
Do we offer the Order of the Axe stands ready to push any claim that Ellen has?
Yeah, well, and so I would say at least the stance that Kendric takes in a lot of these conversations is that he is more than willing to press the Countess's claim insofar as, you know, it is for the benefit of the realm. If Ulfius cannot protect his western borders, we'll protect them for him.
Do you say that where the Countess is present?
I think I say that in the same manner it was said around me. Okay. In that, she is within. Well, no, she is. She can hear me saying it, but I am not saying it to her directly.
I see. I think that at a slightly distant time later, so that they may not be directly tied together, Ellen makes it clear that while extreme measures need to be taken, Ulfius is a friend, and has always served as a stable ally, even if the steward of Levkomegus previously has been less than that. With that said, her husband has made it a yearly tradition on his progress to raid Silchester, specifically Levkomegus, a tradition she does not specifically see needing to end. But any thoughts of occupying Levkomegus or Silchestrian lands are out of the way, and any discussion of raiding Silchester should certainly involve a conversation with Ulfius. Unless, and of course, all of the knights here present that are most senior believe that the western lands should be occupied for their own best defense. You know, she's looking basically at the four of you. I'm including Clint in that.
It's that management thing of like we want you to annex these lands, but don't get their leaders offside.
I'm more than happy to uphold tradition.
My biggest worry with annexation is we barely have enough of us to hold the lands we have. I worry that we would spread ourselves far too thin if we started trying to annex lands from our neighbors. Now, that said, if suddenly Levkomegus is empty, if Ulfius gives it up, well, we don't want brigands settling in there. That would be a different story. But as long as Ulfius is protecting the land, I would worry about our ability to hold stable lands.
If Saxons were to take Levkomegus, that would drive a wedge between us and our great ally, Silchester.
That we definitely can't allow.
I think if Saxons were to take Levkomegus, there wouldn't be a Silchester to worry about. So, Kendric, I am not offering you the position of Lord of Duplain, but I do greatly require that order be present in that city. And it must be done. We are about to enter 16 weeks of winter, through which I suspect there will be little movement, military or civil. Can I expect you to winter in Duplain this year, and to bring me order in that city?
You can, my lady.
I would dispatch you immediately.
To the order or to Kendric specifically?
It is to Kendric, but it is Kendric's choice who to bring, of course. I mean, Kendric knows the lands. They're literally less than a day's ride from him. I'm saying that, not her, but
yeah.
Kendric already indicated that he wants to uphold the tradition of raiding Silchester, and that's done from Duplain. So if Duplain is not in order, that cannot be done.
And I'll definitely offer to help, but I think we should dispatch our squires to Ember, and we deal with Duplain ourselves.
Indeed.
Your squires are already gone. They left yesterday.
Yeah. I need to go as well via Shrewton, which is like the complete opposite direction, but I'd have to meet you in a few days in Duplain, because I need to meet with my sister.
Well, why don't you meet me at my manor, and then we'll continue to Duplain from there.
Very good.
It's only a few hours' ride.
Do you feel it would be necessary to raise your levies, Sir Kendric? I grant you permission to do so if you need it.
Thank you, my lady.
Do you have anything else? Any other counsel you would offer this council before you go?
I would. This is the council of like knights and stuff.
Yeah. So part of your oath of chivalry requires that you offer counsel to a lord when asked. she immediately invoked that for all of her assembled knights. She basically wants to know what the hell's going on and what everybody thinks. I mean, to some extent, she could just tell everyone what to do, but I think it's clear that she doesn't think she has that level of power.
Let me ask what buying was consultative process.
Let me ask you this, AP, out of character. Is there enough of a difference in the between granting and gifting manners that you want to get into that, or if a manor is given, it's a grant?
Interesting.
Because so you can gift a manor to someone for their life,
right?
And then when
it
they
goes
die,
back.
it reverts back. But if you grant it, it's theirs forever.
Yes, she's not offering you that with Duplain.
Well, you need. I know, but I'm asking out of character whether that's something that you're.
Yes, there is such a difference, and it can be done.
So then Kendric would say, my advice to you, my lady, is to be generous with the empty manors as gifts to your loyal knights, so that they may have the funds to raise others to knighthood, and thus replenish our ranks faster.
Very well. I will think on what you have said. And you can see other knights here, mostly unmannered knights, are like, yeah, Sir Kendric, a wise old knight. Very wise. Honorable. Glorious.
Yeah, and specifically saying gifting, so that when these dudes die, they revert back to Earl Robert.
But these guys would love to have a manor.
Yeah, and to cash those checks for a little while.
Yeah,
for sure.
Sir Arnaut there is like, oh, this is my opportunity to get a foot in the door.
Yeah.
He goes from sword guy to my lady. Do you require any service? I hear what they say about the peasants at Steeple Langford is shocking. A firm hand might be needed to restore order there. Unless anyone has anything shocking to say, I feel that this may be the end of this particular session. We have several questions to answer next time, but the primary question is the question of Duplain, because I guess Kendric and whoever he's bringing, I think you're bringing all of the
Kendric and the boys.
Well, Gwent will arrive with his levies. We don't know him and have just met him. Oh God, Kinnead, are you bringing your levies? I'd say their loyalty right now is questionable at best.
Yeah, that's...
It's like in BattleTech when they're like, this regiment has the following. Yeah, like one is like faithful and the other is questionable. Kinnead's is like questionable with an asterisk at the end of it.
Like I don't know that Kinnead can spend the winter in Duplain.
Well,
that's fine.
I will say one thing. Having Ellen back your claim is huge for you. That is certainly enough to get the peasantry on your side, because if they had to choose between an army of knights and Santoro and his two brothers and a guy with a stick, I could tell you who they're going to back for sure. Santoro is kind of scary, as are his brothers, but they're nothing compared to the full might of Salisbury. But that is certainly up to you to decide. You left an uncle in charge, so the manor is certainly neither undefended nor unkept.
Mm-hmm.
Any closing thoughts here? Any outros? What an episode! This did not.
Yeah, it was a good episode.
I thought there was going to be a lot more. Hey, let's do end of year stuff, and not. Holy shit, we're at war. We're at DEFCON 1 and there's fucking the whole southern wing is now under the command of Chalk.
Yeah.
I was telling the guys, before you came back from break, I was like, I thought that AP was just gonna give me a bunch of exposition, like I was gonna get, Harfin's spy abilities. Oh, yeah, watch out for this guy. Well, oh, that guy we can count on. I thought that was the conversation I was going to have, which is why I rushed to have it. I did not expect tonight to turn out the way it did.
Listen, Glimo, you had an opportunity to find a high location and push her off of it, and you didn't take it.
I did. I think Rooster in chat went, they're alone, right?
Yeah, he did say it. That's almost as scary as in Star Trek Odyssey, where Zach is like, who do you know in this room? Who do you know in this room right now?
Yeah.
That, honestly, I'm not into horror very much, but if a room full of people suddenly looked at me and someone in the room went, who do you know in this room right now? I'd be like, uh-oh. This is really bad.
Yeah, this is not going to go well for me.
James,
I'm glad you had a good episode.
It was.
We delivered it. Hey, listen, you were first to bat. You were the first one up there to swear loyalty.
Yeah, well, I mean, normally I try to defer to Kendric, but I think my glory might have snuck in front now. So.
I think so. Well, it's that extra 100 you get for being
religious.
Yeah, religious night or whatever.
Yeah.
I am definitely never going to lead the glory pack.
I mean, you say that, but a motherfucker's gonna die. Kendric's gonna be dead at some point, and then it's Knead's time now, baby.
That's right.
You're younger, faster, more glorious than his heir.
But no, it was a good. I was thinking before the session, and like in the time between sessions, that of like trying to get a private audience and like politic a little bit with the Countess, but there just wasn't time, and I was like, I don't know that.
I specifically set it up so there wouldn't be any time for private talk, or she's got a lot going on.
Yeah. And like I kind of feel that was probably more of like Sir Herawd's bag than Sir Kendric's.
Hey,
but
there's going to be time coming up after winter for you to start suggesting places to acquire sheep and cattle from.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll go full Settlers of Catan. You can be the robber baron and start taking people's roads, take their sheep. What are the other resources in that game? Yeah, they're bricks. I don't know that bricks are a thing yet. Well, I mean, I think the Romans have lost the recipe at this point, but
yeah.
What, for clay?
For the Roman concrete and such. Speaking of Uphaven, it's got some nice Roman bricks there if you want to go ahead and pick some of those.
Yeah.
I looked up, by the way, 15th century was when sandpaper was developed in China. Yeah,
I'm glad I called it out. It's probably not being sandpaper then.
By gluing crushed sea cells to paper.
Old calcium carbide, of course.
Yeah.
Sick. The same stuff you use to make toothpaste, you also use to make your wood smooth. Yeah. Well, it took hours to figure out all of those manors, all of the castles. We get the situation for everything. You fucking curveball me with Santoro and Harfin. If you guys want that full list of manors and all of the knights and such, I can send it.
That'd be great.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like putting the because like when you started listing stuff off, I was trying to type and I got some of them, but then like in that second one, you were just like boom, 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 and I was like, oh, I'm not keeping up with that.
What's interesting is like I've got like my 4 domain manors, one of which Gwent is in, and then the other 3 are available. Like they're never listed as like any of the manors of Salisbury. But
one and I know. So like the listing of local manors picture that we have in the there's way more.
Yes,
like there's a ton.
I've included most of them.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think Kendric's like goal is basically like to hopefully pick up another couple of gifted manors so that he can snag some extra income and start making knights out of his family members who are just currently armsmen.
Yep. Good to see that Soundwave obviously run the game without you, Ava.
For my dead body.
And like, I also think like, because Tathan is 10, he'll be I think 11 next year maybe, and like,
I sent you guys the Knights list already, right?
yes,
Yes.
yeah.
You can go ahead and make sure Santoro isn't on that list.
I don't believe he is, because he was a family member knight at the beginning of this episode.
Technically, he still is.
Yeah, so technically. We'll see what Chalk does. Because I think Chalk is like one of our southernmost manors, right?
Yes,
right.
and
It's
it has a
down
number of tributary manors all around it that are currently undefended.
Yeah. But
I'm just going to tell you right now, Santoro's brothers are going to be sitting in those manors in about 2 days.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Ebel is the closest castle.
Castle, yeah. Well, guess what?
Well, I mean,
you better hope Ebel gets a commander sooner or later, because
I was
it's got to get one later for sure.
I was going to say,
and you can't be everywhere, man. You can't be at Duplain and Ebel at the same time.
No, but that was going to be another one of my counsels to Lady Ellen, is to fucking garrison Ebel as fast as possible.
Hey, we got the beginning of next episode for you to say that. Make sure to write it down.
Yep.
Don't pull a Dynamis.
Yeah.
There are no further things of note. I declare this session over. I declare it. You can join us tomorrow night for a stream that is the character creation of Warhammer 40k Imperium Maledictum's Iron Archipelago.
There's zeros on Patreon right now.
It is, and it will always be on Patreon. It will never go public.
And don't forget, we've got the Patreon meeting tomorrow as well.
Yes, we do. We do have the Patreon meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern United States time.
You could be a part of that if you were sipping for Arthur Perkins Gaming Real.
If you had more Arthur Perkins. No one has that. Oh, what a great note to end on. We're going to go out for the night. Have a good time, Zone.